Let me let you in on a little secret. All hair loss, every alopecia, including men's hair loss or androgenetic alopecia, is from four of the same considerations. I'm AQBS, and this is Back to the Barber. If this is your first time on this channel, I help men get their high school hairline back naturally, no matter the scale of loss. Rather, you are here to maximize, maintain, and or manufacture new hair. The algorithm has led you to the right place. Why so? Because I am one of the very few documented cases of a person reversing being totally bald for over a decade using simple tools and natty foods. I basically cure balding in the kitchen, and I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing. Today's primary topic, the four considerations of hair loss, seconded by other relevant information and commentary. So let's get started. See, I know that it seems to be that hair loss comes from all these different things, the different type of alopecias and just all the different names that you can kind of come across. And you see women's pattern balding, you see men's pattern balding, you have a receding hairline, you have thinning at the top, you have patches coming out. And it all seems different because you supposedly have these different type of fixes for them. But really, when you look at that, there is only just a few fixes. It's going to be some sort of DHT inhibitor. It's going to be some sort of circulation booster. Is going to be something that's going to fix some sort of inflammation or infection. And then it's going to be some sort of physical type of, maybe like red light therapy, something that's more physical. So today, this is what I'm going to talk to you about. You can really consolidate all of these complex or supposedly complex hair loss type of scenarios and really bring it to something so simple that when you understand it, you can start reversing any type of hair loss, from the basic thinning and receding all the way to what I had, which was Norwood 7 Plus, where you don't have any hair at the top. You're even losing a little bit on the sides and also the eyebrows. Okay, so what are the four considerations of hair loss, or the four considerations of regrowth? Number one, immune response. Every alopecia, not even just from humans, we can just say for animals too. When it comes to fur, when they start losing fur and when we start losing hair, is usually because some sort of immune response. And what is that? It's going to be followed with acne. It's going to be inflammation. It's going to be some sort of irritation and infection. Then the skin will produce bumps and pus, and you will have a lot more oil on the skin. And a lot of times this comes from some sort of gut problem, some sort of allergy. It comes from a protein or a pathogen that has gotten inside of the blood. Now, when you look at male pattern balding, you would notice that there's soreness that's associated with it. You'll notice that the men who have it also have inflammation and redness and sebum. And it tells you then that this is not just about some sort of genetic problem. It's like you got it from your dad or your grandmother's side or your mother's side, that this is something that is really an illness, and is really, if you want to name it anything, it's going to be closer to like a scalp infection or a skin disorder versus anything else. But really, immune response is something you have to take into consideration. And if you understand that, then you can actually prep it. You can actually reverse it by dealing with the fact that it is an immune response. That tells you that you have to deal with the gut, or you have to deal with the scalp in a way that seems as if it is infected by something, because it is. Number two, vasodilator-circulation. We're already dealing with circulation primarily because that's what most of the medicines are for. When you talk about the herbal medicines, when you talk about the DHT inhibitors, when you talk about anything that is going to cause the dermal papilla, the follicles, and or the scalp to have better circulation. And what is this for? It's for several different reasons. Under this vasodilator circulation quadrant, you're talking about stiff arteries. People don't know that the stiff arteries is the cause of the balding. Not just the fact that the follicles can't get any blood flow, because they are in ways, but if your arteries, the main arteries that are supplying the blood flow, then what is left for the dermal papilla or the follicles, right? Number 3 is the hormonal imbalance. We know about this one too because we talk about the DHT problem. We talk about how estrogen needs to be dominated, how the prostate can be dominated, because when you have a prostate dominated scalp, which I call alpha, that's a scalp that's balding or bald. Now when you have an estrogen or a uterine dominated scalp, you have a scalp now that is full of hair, that's full of life, and that's kind of what you need. Now if you do have the alpha scalp, you want to tip the scale over to the uterine dominated scalp. So DHT, you want to eliminate it, inhibit it, and you want to do more pro-estrogenic type of herbs and or something that at least is not allowing DHT to be in the scalp, okay? So hormonal imbalance is just not about DHT or estrogen or testosterone. Consider that cortisol is one of the hormones that stop or inhibit the follicles from actually taking care of the child, which is the terminal hair. When you have a high cortisol or high stress, it causes the follicles to decide that it is not a good time to be growing hair. Then the energy is put into other places. It's kind of like fight or flight. What happens when you get into a situation where you're in constant stress, a constant fight or flight? The body decides to put its resources elsewhere other than hair growth, okay? So you got to deal with cortisol and stress. All hair loss is derived from acute follicle stress, and that can be in multiple different ways. From traction, it can be from a pathogen such as immune response, it can be from circulation issues, but when it's all said and done, losing hair is about having an acute follicle stress. Also, when it comes to the hormonal imbalance, you got cholesterol that can get solidified. You have endorphins that are not being released and dopamine into the scalp so that the hair can be happy and peaceful so that it can produce hair. Follicles are feminine. They're not masculine. They want to be in peace. They want to be able to reproduce, and they want to be able to take care of the child, which is the terminal hair, right? Any type of high stress, acute and chronic stress leads them to abortion. And number 4, the mechanical physical part. This is when you have fibrosis, when you have calcification, when you have hard tissue, when you have subcutaneous fat loss. Consider that once the immune response kicks our tail, once the vasodilator and circulation kicks our tail, once the hormonal imbalance is so imbalanced, now you got to deal with the mechanical physical issues that have came along from all these problems. The cortisol, it becomes calcified, the calcium becomes crystallized, the soft tissue is now hard tissue, and once was subcutaneous fat is now just fiber. This is so important because see, all the other things you can stop, you can kind of use supplements for, you can use food for, oils, inhibitors, you can use laboratory based solutions and human ingenuity products. But when it comes to the mechanical physical, you have to use your knuckles. You have to use massaging. You have to use the derma sampling, the derma roller, cupping, and things of this nature, the microcurrent. These are the things that you have to consider. The 4: immune response, vasodilator-circulation, hormonal imbalance, and last but not least, mechanical physical. If you do these 4, and if you really focus on those, you can not only reverse your hair loss, you can get your high school hairline back. So that's my video for today. Hopefully something here has helped you to halt hair loss and to restore it. If so, hit the like or subscribe. If not, give another video a chance. I am pretty sure you'll find something interesting. But if I can do it, you all can do it too. Let's get you back to the barber.